Hi, everyone. It's Donna Marie, and welcome to the Best Life of Wellbeing podcast. On January 29th, I celebrated my birthday. And I want to share 10 things I learned to help support my overall well-being. The definition online to well-being is a state of being comfortable, healthy, and happy. My definition to well-being is the holistic integration of body, mind, and spirit. Well-being is really about holistic living, WHOLISTIC. Wholeness is the union of your body, mind, and your spirit. It's about cultivating a lifestyle that nurtures all aspects of myself. It's recognizing the connection between me and everything and everybody. And because we're here to live our best life of well-being, I want to share 10 things that stood out to me over the past year. So the number one thing I learned, and it's a quote I used in a previous podcast episode, and the quote is from Elizabeth Gilbert, and I'm going to switch it up a little bit, but she says to relentlessly participate in the manifestation of your own blessing, and I say your own self-care. My birthday is January 29th. And so January 29th, 23, and going back to October 2022, I spent so much time with my family, and it was absolutely amazing. And you might ask, what does that have to do with self-care? Well, I will say, even when spending time with loved ones or traveling or hanging out with friends, whatever it is, it's important to put yourself first, to acknowledge what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and also spend that time alone. Take a walk by yourself. If in the morning you have a routine when you're at home, try ways to incorporate that routine when you're with friends or family or others for an extended period of time. By the time the end of 2023 rolled around, I had depleted my energy giving so much to others because I wasn't efficiently practicing my self-care, my own self-care. I wasn't participating in manifesting my own self-care. Being in the moment and being present and listening and, showing up is important, but it's also important to take care of yourself. My mother stayed with me for 2 months last year, and during that 2-month period, there was a lot I didn't do because my mother was here in my space and I wanted to spend all of my time with her. And the saying goes, you can't give from an empty cup. We can't really even give from a full cup. We give from the overflow, and we have to ensure that our cup stays full. Self-care is so important. And again, when my mother was here, I probably continued to talk to my therapist, but I didn't practice yoga as consistently. I didn't meet with my mentors. There was a lot I did not do because I wanted to be present for my mother. And again, at the end of my year, after giving so much to my family members, I was so tired. And I had to go into a major recovery. And so I attended my very first yoga retreat last year. It was a nature yoga retreat. It was absolutely amazing with like-minded women, lots of fruit and veggies, and we spent lots of time having fun. And that brings me to number 2. Have fun. Play. Allow your inner child to enjoy life. Important to have fun. So whatever that means for you, you can go back in your mind and think about things you did when you were younger. What did you enjoy when you were younger? I enjoyed riding my bicycle. During the yoga retreat, I enjoyed the seesaw. I hadn't been on a seesaw since I was a child. So it was such a thrill for me to be on a seesaw with another adult who was just allowing her inner child to have a good time. I love the sunshine. The sunshine makes me happy. And so play is so much fun. Creating opportunities to have fun. I love traveling. That yoga retreat was in the same state, but I traveled to a city I had never been to. And again, I had so much fun. Number 3, I had to assess my relationships this past year. There's a phrase that says, go where you're celebrated and not tolerated. And that phrase just stayed with me. Sometimes relationships change, people change, or sometimes you wake up in relationships and you realize that the relationship never served you from the very beginning. Determining which relationships are there to help build you up or why they're there. Some relationships are transactional. Some relationships are truly friendships and giving and nurturing. Certain relationships shouldn't be treated like a friendship, but should be acknowledged for what they are. Number 4, managing my time. Is your time managing you, or are you managing your time? And I will honestly say in 2023, there were many times when my time was managing me because I wasn't practicing self-care. I was giving my attention to others more than I was giving attention to managing my time. So part of self-care is planning, organizing, keeping track of the things I need to do and doing them when they need to be done in an efficient manner. Do something right away. And then prioritizing any types of goals, any types of work or projects, being intentional with my time and recognizing when my time is managing me. When my time is managing me, I'm stressed. When my time is managing me, I'm anxious. When my time is managing me, I'm not as confident. When my time is managing me, my physical energy is low. My mental energy is low. And so I recognize the importance of showing up for myself through intentionality and by managing my time. Number 5, I learned the importance of telling stories and creating stories and recognize that stories we experience, the minute we tell the story, something about the story changes, something about the experience changes. But storytelling is so, so important. I recognize that storytelling is not always factual. Storytelling is based on a person's memory, perception, and it's not necessarily the truth. It's a story they tell. So listening to the story, not taking something personal about the story, not buying into a story 100%, but I also learned the importance of telling stories, creating opportunities for people to see experiences in life differently. So I learned the importance of listening to other people's stories, paying attention to the stories I tell myself, to the stories other people tell themselves. And so storytelling has so many different dimensions to it. So creating a story for entertainment purposes, educational purposes, but also listening to other people share their stories. There's so much to learn from stories. Stories are historical documentation, and stories can change. I interviewed my mother when she was here, and the same interview I did with her in 2009, I did with her in 2003, and her answers changed. So we talked about, not for all of the questions, but her answers changed for some of them. So we talked about her answers in 2009 and the answers in 2023 and why those stories didn't align. And it's because she became more aware of a particular fact about the story, or she had just grown up and realized that the story she had been telling was based on something that she was in her feelings about, or something that someone else told her. And that's another thing about stories. Through my end of life planning, one client in particular told herself she had to do certain things because it was morally right, or because that's what her grandparents and her parents did. And then as she was at the end of her life, she realized that the stories that other people told her and the stories that she adopted were not even her own stories. There were stories that she adopted, or stories that she believed were true because she had heard them over and over again. And then at the end of her life, she was wrestling with what her truth was. There's so much to consider with storytelling. And the most important story is the story you tell yourself. So check your own self-talk, Check to determine if the stories you're believing are the stories that align with your values and your beliefs. Determine if you need to change your story in your life. You know, a belief is a thought we think all the time. I also believe it's important to express and discuss your feelings, because sometimes when we suppress our feelings and never discuss our feelings, we do tend to create stories that create all kinds of havoc inside of our bodies and inside of our head. So expressing what we really feel can help us to learn the truth or get to the root cause of a story. And so that was really important for me in 2023. Number 6, creativity. January 29th, 2023, I decided to do something new every single day. And that could be just take a different route, sleep a little later, wake up earlier, meditate a little longer. It didn't have to be anything extravagant or anything burdensome, just something new every day. Each day I made sure I was intentional about doing something new. And I can tell you, I had some amazing surprises in my life. Doing something new every day, uh, it was, I'm continuing that this year, doing something new every day. So many beautiful surprises that came up, so many new things I learned by doing something new every day. Creativity helps with your self-care, how I play and have fun, how I show up in my relationships, how I develop my relationships, how I manage my time, what I do during those mundane times. It helped to increase my energy. It helped me to feel more free. It helped to create confidence just being creative in all areas of my life. I met new people. I tried new things. I challenged myself. I surprised myself. I had more fun than ever. Trying something new every day is the one thing I did that enhanced that creativity more than anything else. Number 7, decluttering. Now, I always declutter, but I do declutter a little bit at a time. In 2023, I did major decluttering. And what I learned from decluttering and being in a space with less stuff is how freeing that is. I felt so free spiritually. I felt free emotionally. I felt like I could be more creative because I had freed up so much space around me. And so I talk about the importance of decluttering and how decluttering impacts you positively, mentally, spiritually, and physically. But I really, really experienced it on a major scale in 2023. And there is much more decluttering I want to do. But I also realized I want to become a minimalist. And through my decluttering, I realized I really have no idea how to be a minimalist. So I'm going to continue working toward becoming minimalist. All I have to do is be creative, and I can use the same item over and over again and be creative with it. And it feels like a new item, and it's freeing. It frees up space. Oh my goodness, freeing up space is just, oh, such liberation, such liberation. Number 8, I learned that whatever you seek, you will find. So to be prepared. So if I'm seeking to learn, I will learn. If I'm seeking information, I will gain that information. If I'm seeking to learn the truth, I will learn the truth. And you got to be prepared for whatever you get when you're seeking. And there are some things I learned in 2023 that broke my heart. There are some truths I learned in 2023 that broke my heart. Some things in 2023 that required me to go deeper in my forgiveness practice, forgiveness of others, forgiveness of myself. Well, just being grateful in all of it really helped to change the energy I brought to a space, the energy I brought to other people. And it really made me feel lighter and happier and gave me more joy in life. And so when you're seeking to find information or the truth about something, be prepared for the answers and the revelation you get. It may not be what you expect, but it is always what you need. I believe that when I'm seeking information or seeking some type of truth, or when I know that there is some information that I need to pursue, it comes from within me. And so I'm not going to stop seeking to learn, but I have to always be prepared for what I gain or find, because it may not be what I expect. Number 9 is focusing on my strengths. I started a new job in 2020, 2 weeks prior to the COVID-19 shutdown. And this job was really new. Everything about it was different. It wasn't anything I had done in the past before. And I'll take that back. Yes, there was some planning, there was some managing, there was some training. There was a lot I had done before. But I also had to work a lot with data management, and that part of it was very new and very intimidating. And working around and with people who were very experienced and had the language to use to describe the work that they were doing from a very confident place. I focused so much on what I didn't know and what I needed to learn, and that did not serve me at all. Focusing on my strengths, I am a planner, I am a communicator, I am a connector of people, I'm a manager. There were so many qualities that I was ignoring about myself, and all I was focused on is what I couldn't do well. And it made it very hard in the first year in this new position. And I really, over this past year, have learned the importance of focusing on my strengths, what I'm really, really good at, and areas where I don't have the knowledge I need. There are people around me to support me, and I need to be comfortable in relying on those people and asking for help and functioning from a place of power and focusing on my strengths. And number 10, and the last one, is taking inventory of life through visioning and reflecting and spending time alone. So important to spend time with your own thoughts. And sometimes me spending time alone was extremely uncomfortable, but I learned to get comfortable in that discomfort, just reflecting over life and asking, what lessons have I learned? Life has so much to teach us. Creating quiet time so that we can analyze what we've been through, what we've been thinking, how we've been feeling, how we've operated, what we're saying to other people, being the observer of myself, what other people are saying to me. Going back to that first year in my new job, there were things I said to other people like, oh, this is confusing to me. So then people would call me confused. So I had to remove that word. No, I'm not confused. This is confusing. But nothing is confusing. Everything requires time, commitment, focus, and intentionality. Nothing is confusing. And so I had to take inventory of my life and recognize the need to change my language, the way I was describing myself, the way I was describing my experience, because people were using my words against me back in 2020. And so taking inventory of my life and visioning, and so writing goals, and then sitting in a state of meditation or in a state of silence, or creating a vision board and visualizing the future, the plans I create today, visualizing the outcome, the end goal, being successful and being comfortable, and also becoming a teacher to help other people who might be struggling. So being a mentor, being a guide, being a caring person based on the knowledge I've gained. So visualize the future before the future happens. Visualizing also means using language that aligns with the future goal, using thoughts that align with the future goal, dressing a certain way, showing up a certain way. All of that is a part of visualizing, and it's also a part of communicating. On my birthday, I had a conversation with one of my friends, and we talked about the importance of clearing the landing strip, like opening space for newness, opening space for new relationships, new energy, new surprises, new mindset, decluttering, letting go, accepting the changing seasons, all that so important. One of the last things I can say I learned about storytelling is as I was meeting with my mother, there were so many things I wish I had learned about my grandmother. There's so many conversations I wish I had had with my grandmother and so many of my other elders. Learning about their life really helps you to understand who you are, because every life impacts another life. The way they were when they were younger, their experiences when they were younger, those experiences are picked up by the way they treat one another, the way they treat their children, the way they show up in the world, and their stories. You hear their stories, you learn their stories, whether you realize it or not. You might internalize their story and live their story and not even realize it's their story and not your story. And so communicating with people, listening, inquiring, and just being willing to learn is so important in this life. We need one another. And last but not least, storytelling is really what end of life and love legacy planning is all about. And so the 10 things I learned, I hope that those reflections are helpful to you and help you on your well-being journey as you strive to live a life of wholeness and unity and not be divided against yourself. Until next time, we'll see what this year has to offer, and I'll be sharing stories.